Hey, it's Aran here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's interview, we're going to be talking to a van life photographer, Jess Bonde, who's got a big Instagram account and has made a living being a van life photographer. Totally different thing that I've never really heard of, this whole van life thing. And we discuss how to make money online as a photographer, asked him different questions to understand a little bit more. I've never heard of van life photography, and he's going to be sharing some tips for beginners that you might find interesting and insightful. So hopefully you enjoy it and stick around to the end. There'll be a special video at the very end. Thanks. Hey everybody, it's Aran here. I'm joined here with Jess from Wild Bond. You can find him at Wild Bond with an E at the end on Instagram. He's got a sizable following and a beautiful photography account, really gorgeous account. And he's part of the bundle selling actually presets. He's got presets. So I wanted to have him come on board, fellow Aussie, have a chat, and yeah, see what value we can bring. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on board. Super stoked.
Yeah. We had a bit of a chat before this, obviously, so I got a bit of a taste of things and stuff. But I just think it's so fascinating how your life kind of turned out. Could you walk us through a little bit? Like, okay, you sort of, it sounded like you went with the traditional route, but then things just went out of control in a good way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about how that went for you?
Yeah. So quick backstory. Grew up in Tasmania and did the usual schooling, then went to university, graduated as a teacher. But my idea was to go travel for 1 year. So I actually had an ex-girlfriend who got back from the super yacht industry. So big private luxury boats for billionaires. And I was like, that sounds awesome. I'm going to do that for a year and then I'll get back into teaching. So I went over to southern France, managed to get myself a job on a boat. And then, yeah, I just absolutely loved it. And I was like, the lifestyle's good, the travel's good, the pay's good. Why am I going to go back to teaching? Like, it doesn't make sense. So I decided to stay in the yachting industry and stayed in there for 4 years. And then after that 4 years, I was like, okay, I need a little bit more freedom, need to do something a little bit different. And I was actually going to go back to university and do paramedicine to become an ambulance officer. But then I had 3 months before the course started and I was in Austria doing a ski season. And I was like, why am I going back to university? I'm having so much fun over here. I'm just going to go on a road trip and spend my super yacht savings. So I did that, but photography was becoming a bit more of a thing. And then, so I was living in a van and taking photos and absolutely loving life. And I was like, I think this is what I want to do. So I started trying to chase that route and here I am a few years later.
Amazing. And which year did you start the van thing, the van life?
2014 is when I left the boats. And then the first road trip was 2015.
Yeah, totally. And then you had an exponential growth on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, well, it was a fair grind to get from 0 to 10K. That took maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And then from 10K to 100K was 9 months. And that was when I really started promoting documenting my lifestyle, like living in a van and all that kind of thing. So previous to that, it was more so just pretty landscape photos and me standing off in the distance and all that kind of thing. But when I started actually documenting the van and I had a girlfriend at the time, it was very iconic, travel wanderlusty kind of lifestyle, and van life was very new at the time. So I kind of capitalized on that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it seems so saturated now. It appears to be now, at least. So
yeah, it's become such a lifestyle that, you know, it's available to so many people because it's so cheap and it's an easy way to live and that kind of thing. And it is the way people sell it online. It does seem pretty idyllic. But yeah, there's a lot of people doing it, and which I actually love. I think it's awesome that people are actually going down that route and doing something a little bit different rather than just being stuck in the 9 to 5. I think that's amazing. So yeah.
So then my audience is very much make money online niche. And I'm always very like, okay, how can people make money? How can I help them make more money and stuff like that? And for me, it was through affiliate marketing to start with. And then I really realized that even affiliate marketing, it's great income and it's good passive income for me and stuff like that. But freelancing, like my philosophy, like you gotta have a freelance skill. You gotta have a high income skill that you can exchange and sell as a service, right? So for me, it became building funnels, sales funnels. It's not your traditional websites, but I wanted to know, like, because over time, obviously, it sounds like you have acquired high income skills, being, let's say, photography. That's one. Are there any other skills like that that you acquired along the way that you feel like, okay, this is something that's actually making you money and so
on? To be honest, not really. So I make the majority of my money through photography, doing content creation for tourism boards and brands and that kind of thing. But I've always had to try and learn those other things on the side, whether it's like writing like a little bit of blog stuff or, developing my own website and design and all that kind of stuff to try and do it. But I don't make money off that.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I probably do make a little bit of money off is through presets. But again, that's very photography related as well. So yeah. And I almost feel like a little bit of a one-trick pony.
Yeah. Well, the pony's done a good job to get you to where you are, though. Some good little hiccups along the way toward, good positive directions. So
yeah, absolutely. And I have been very lucky that I always take my work very seriously, and I want to be trying to get better. And I think that's probably what's allowed me to develop not only a larger following and continue to grow, but then also get that work with bigger and better clients, which does create obviously bigger income.
Yeah. So then obviously, like, you've got a big Instagram account, 180K and so on. How does that affect or make a difference for you in terms of closing deals and doing brand collaborations and stuff like that? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it definitely helps. I would like to think that my photography kind of talks for itself as well.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, I guess there's the option to not only create the content for the brand, but then you also have the option to market that product or market that place through your Instagram as well. So you can kind of make a little bit more money on top of it as well. So say I charge a content creation job of like $5,000, maybe I might charge $2,000 on top of that as well, do some money as well. So that's super handy to create that income as well. But then also, when you're reaching out to brands and so on, they will naturally take you a little bit more seriously if you already have a bigger following and you can prove that you've worked with bigger brands and stuff as well.
Yeah, got it.
So yeah, I guess it's almost proof of work in a way.
Yeah, social proof, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get it. And in the photography, so that makes you a full-time living, just doing photography jobs for brands and stuff, hey?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Very cool. I tell all my audience, just get an income skill that you're excited about, that you like. Doesn't really matter what it is. Videography, video editing, Facebook advertising. The fact that you've done it with photography, that's just so cool. There's a business model here, like a really incredible, powerful business model, So
yeah, I totally agree with you that having that skill, that you also do really need to be passionate about it, because you're always going to have ups and downs when you're going out and being a solo entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So, having something that you're really passionate about and you really enjoy doing, that's what's going to get you out of bed and get you through those low times as well. So for sure, totally agree.
Yeah, awesome. Could you explain to me, you explained to me a little bit, but just tell me about the presets, because obviously that's part of the bundle. Could you explain what is a presets, why it's valuable, how could somebody benefit from that?
Yeah, for sure. So if you have a look at my Instagram feed, I would like to think that it's pretty unique, and I'm pretty consistent with my colors that I use as well.
Yeah.
So, like deep, rich oranges and nice, vibrant blues. So obviously in photography, trying to create that aesthetic is always really hard. And a lot of people like to emulate other people as well. So with the presets, what I've done is created filters, which is what a preset is, for other people to put their photos, put the filter on top of their photos.
Yeah.
To give them the same look and color tones that I use into their images.
Yeah.
So it's essentially a filter. So people can download those filters, put them on their phone, put them on their desktop. So when they take a photo, apply one of my presets and it'll give you a very similar look or similar color tones to what my photos have.
Got it. Yeah, anybody that's in that either design, photography, Instagram, Pinterest, anyone that has an account like that, or they're in that niche, that's just valuable, really, because they could do something more unique and different, eh? That's really what it's for.
Absolutely. And so people often look up to, say, like a certain travel couple or a certain photographer, and they just love that aesthetic that they've designed over time. And they want their photos to look the same. So, the easiest way to do that is with one of the filters. So,
yeah. Awesome. I love that. And what software should they need to use to be able to use your filters?
Lightroom. So if you're, if you don't have a Adobe Lightroom subscription, you can actually get Lightroom Mobile for free. So you can download that onto your phone, and then download my Lightroom Mobile presets. And then that way you can plug them in. Otherwise, if you do have Lightroom Desktop, then you can also use it on there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, awesome. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions on your experience, your learning, everything like that. How did you learn all this stuff about photography to make you such a pro? Like, who's your mentor? Where did you go to learn all that stuff?
Yeah, YouTube. I literally learned everything on YouTube. So I guess one thing about me is that I really hate being bad at things. Like, I hate it with a passion. So when I first picked up a camera and I had no idea what I was doing, I just really wanted to get better, like really quickly. So I was doing all I could to try and learn and get better and that kind of thing. And I guess over time, obviously developed those skills to do that. So, but when it comes to photography tutorials and so on, I guess a couple of different photographers, I don't know if this is going to mean anything to anyone, but Chris Burkhard was one of the original guys that went out and did the big landscape, little person kind of photos that we all see now, with,
wow.
dramatic landscapes with a little tiny person stood
there.
Yeah. So he was like a huge inspiration for me. And now Peter Mckinnon, which a lot of people probably know on YouTube, does a lot of video and photo stuff as well. I really love his video tutorials and all that kind of stuff as well. So definitely look up to both of those guys.
Wow. So you've learned for free on YouTube mostly?
Everything. I've literally never paid for a photography course.
That is so good. Just so you know, I'll give you a little bit of background of what I do with my stuff, with my people. I am, and this might sound bad for some people, but I'm anti high ticket courses for beginners specifically. Like, it's okay to invest in stuff. Like, I'm not saying don't invest in yourself, but you really don't need to pay $2,000, $5,000 for courses online from gurus claiming that they're going to change your life all of a sudden,
Totally agree.
And I'm really anti that. Like, I'm really like a bit over the top, maybe, I don't know, but because I'm in that niche, the make money online niche, there's a lot of marketing hype, right? Specifically. And so it's just freaking fascinating to hear you say, like, 180K on Instagram, traveled, brands paying you $5,000 per photo shoot. Like, how much did you had to invest to do that? $0. But time, of course. I mean, yes, of course, I'm sure there was equipment and Adobe subscription. Like, okay, fine, there is those things, but these are the tools, it's like me investing in a laptop, it's not,
Yeah.
It's not the same.
I totally agree. There's so much amazing free content out there that if you can't get the basics off something, off say YouTube or whatever, or even just DMing someone, like, I think that, like, maybe you're not really in it for the right reasons, or you're not like, you're not really trying hard enough, essentially. Totally. When it comes to, figuring things out, I'm very much the kind of person that I want to know how to do it, but I want to figure it out rather than being shown how to do it a lot of the time. So by working through that process, I think you learn so much. And so obviously, like, having a pathway for me right at the start would have been amazing. Like, when I look at the bundle and some of the resources and stuff in there, I do actually think that, man, I wish I had that when I started. Because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like going out and taking photos and DMing people and hoping that they get back to me and hoping that they give me a job. So
totally. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wished I had this bundle 3.5 years ago when I started. So The first course I paid for online was $49, and I was on the unemployment. I was on the dole unemployment benefit from Centrelink. So because I was in a transition, I had no job, couldn't get a job. I didn't go to high school. Nobody gave me a job interview. It was a joke, right? So I paid $49, and that was from money that I saved from Centrelink, like pinching dollars. And then the next course that I ended up buying was $2,500. I borrowed it from a friend, right? And then there was more courses and more masterminds, and I spent 60 to 80K in various stuff, right? Crazy. Now I also made 145, but geez, that's a lot of money to put out to,
Absolutely. But at the same time, that would have fast tracked you a lot. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's times where, like, if I just had known like 2 or 3 different things, like that would have fast tracked me exponentially. So
not proportionate to the amount I paid, let's put it that way. But yes, there were definitely some things. But I know what you mean. Like, obviously it sounds like you're very obsessed with actually figuring stuff out, and that topic of photography, like you're obsessed with it, which is good. Like it's an obsession, which is
100%. Yeah.
I think that's great. It's great. Find something you're obsessed with and go hard on it. Hey.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. How do people find you? Like, how do they connect with you? Who do you typically work with? Like, is it just brands, or do you do other gigs, or what's your, how do people connect with you?
Usually through Instagram. So people are reaching out, brands reaching out and that kind of thing. I do a little bit of pitching here and there, but it's mainly tourism boards or brands, whether they're flying me out to a place to go and shoot, or whether I'm actually going to that place and say, hey, I'm coming here. I can create some content for you. So it kind of like depends. I know before the podcast today, we chatted about me trying to drive from Tasmania to Iceland.
Yeah.
So for that trip, I would be reaching out to brands and saying, hey, like I can take your product on this trip and create some really unique storylines around this product, and weave it into like my storyline and what we're doing, and trying to create that kind of content. So it's all just trying to figure out like unique ways to sell to people, I guess. So.
Yeah. So, in the brand collaborations between you, so it sounds like you're doing outreach strategies, like you're actually reaching out, and also they're coming to you. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What would you say the ratio between the two?
Probably like 60 to 70% coming to me for a start.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just DMing you on Instagram or emailing you, or?
A bit of both. Usually it's, if it does start as a DM on Instagram, it'll move to email. So yeah.
Interesting. But then you also reach out, hey?
Yeah, depending on what I'm doing. So for me, I want to try and live the lifestyle and do the projects and the adventures and stuff that I want to do. And for me to make that happen, the easiest way to do that is to get brands and sponsors and stuff on board. So I'll come up with some kind of crazy idea, like driving from Tasmania to Iceland, and then pitch that. So, that's something that's super unique, and there's so much to it. But also, like, once I'm on a trip, it's almost a little bit easier to say, hey, like, this is what's happening, and I'll naturally have brands and stuff reaching out once I've actually started, and they can see what it's all about and what it generally looks like. So
Okay, now you already told me, but you gotta tell the audience. I want you to spell out your trip. Now for anybody that's curious about this type of a lifestyle, I think it's really worth checking him out on Instagram, and then checking out his YouTube channel, because he will be documenting it on his YouTube channel as well. So, but could you just say the trip? I just want to hear it, like the what do you call it? Like the route. Like it's funny because for me, I see it like buses. You just go from one suburb to another, maybe. But you've got a country's drive through. Could you explain that?
Yeah, no worries. So the idea was to drive from Tasmania to Iceland. So I built an overlanding camper. So basically like a living box, or like a little home on the back of a ute or a back of a truck, that I was then going to be driving through Australia. And then I put in a shipping container to get from Australia to Dili in Timor, and then island hop on normal ferries through Timor and Indonesia. And then from there, go to Malaysia, then Thailand, Burma, India, Nepal, India, back into Pakistan, China, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, across the Caspian, and then into Armenia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia area, Iran, then up into Turkey and Greece, and then all the way through Europe, and then finish up in Iceland.
It's madness.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. And I think there is a few people listening to this who'll just be like, I want that, but they just gotta realize you just gotta take advantage of the skills that some of the bundle offers. Like yours will be presets. It doesn't educate you on anything on that, but there is courses on how to build an Instagram account, which are really good courses. I've been through one. Excellent. There's a course on TikTok. Excellent. And that's the thing. The two things you've done really well. You built an audience, you got a high income skill, and that combination, it's just such a killer combination. And also there's an element where you obviously know how to sell, because otherwise you wouldn't be connecting with brands. So that trio is just a freaking killer combination. It doesn't matter what skill even, but audience, skill, sales, you have those three and you're set on whatever lifestyle you just choose to design for yourself, I reckon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more with you. Just playing with your strengths as well. So, like if you do have a passion for something, but you have a background in sales or marketing or whatever, like use that to your advantage, there's so much you can do. There's so many different ways to make money and live the lifestyle that you want to live. Just play to your strengths, but still chase that passion for sure. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. On the digital nomad lifestyle, could you tell me, I'll be honest, I've been talking to a few of them recently with this whole bundle thing. And it's interesting because I'm learning that obviously they're traveling, but they don't have passive income, which means they are on the grind. While they're traveling, they are definitely on the grind, right? And it's all very easy to see how it looks on social and think, oh, it's amazing. Could you tell me, I don't know, maybe three downfalls or three cons or not even, obviously everything in life has a challenge, but what would be the three things if you wanted to go do that digital nomad life, travel, whatever, what are the difficulties of something like that? The challenges somebody could expect?
Yeah. It depends what kind of person you are. For me, I enjoy being away from home and I love traveling. There's also the downfall of like you're living out of a suitcase 24/7 and
right.
Sometimes you just want to have a roof over your head for the same roof over your head for like a week or 2 weeks or whatever. For me, when I started van life and living in vans and all that kind of stuff, man, like you can't imagine how much I got over living in a van at times as well, so
right.
There's that sides of things for sure. I think when you first start, the biggest thing is always going to be finances. Traveling isn't cheap, so that's the start, trying to figure out how to make income and try and make it stable as much as you can as well. That's probably the biggest thing, to be honest. And then third thing, I guess for me, I'm pretty open with plans and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes like I really have no idea what I'm going to be doing next month. Like have no idea. So maybe that lack of structure could like really maybe doesn't sit well with other people. But for me, I'm pretty okay with it. Like I know that something will pop up and I'm spontaneous and I can go and do that. And I kind of have faith that things will work out. Whereas maybe right at the start, people getting into it, that scares the hell out of them. I don't know.
Yeah,
so.
Totally. No, I like those points. Some people, it will influence them in a different way. And some people, maybe they get the adrenaline from it versus a challenge, so you just got to be aware of what it's like so you can, know, not have a culture shock sort of thing once you do it,
I like to keep things relatively open-ended because, I might get a tourism job coming in where I'm flying to Japan and whatever in like a couple of months' time. But, if I've already locked stuff in or, maybe that makes things like a little bit harder or, when you're traveling, you're always meeting people and the cool thing about being a creative is like when you're meeting up with creators, we all have like these insane ideas to go on different adventures and missions and so on. Whereas, you know, like maybe if you've got everything locked in, then maybe you can't go and do that as well. So
Yeah.
pros and cons of being organized and of spontaneous, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I guess you won't be going back to uni or going back to teaching anytime soon or at all.
Definitely not going back to teaching, that is for sure. um, Going back to uni, I doubt it. I really doubt it. So
Yeah. Stick to what you're good at. You enjoy it. You love it. So
yeah, 100%.
that's
100%.
awesome.
And
you
things like
call,
if I'm not enjoying it and I want to do something else, then I'll go and do that. Like I'm
yeah,
pretty happy with chasing whatever it is that makes me happy.
that's awesome. Have you done videography or just photography? That's just for photographs.
So I just photography at the moment, but I've just bought a new camera and it should arrive. I thought it was going to arrive yesterday, but it should arrive on Monday. And then that's the beginning of my videography journey as well. So
Right.
yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into that and trying to give that
That's
a go.
that's actually a different skill.
So different. Like you think that it's the same, but it's
So different.
Completely different ball game. So, I mean, some things correlate. Obviously, if you can see
Sure.
the picture, then you see like how it might work on video, but totally different skill.
Interesting. And then what about video editing? Is that something that will be something that you'll need to kind of learn at the same time? Like that's also another thing that you'll kind of have to add on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so those things usually go hand in hand, videography and video editing. So it'll be a case of, especially for photos as well, like you learn how to edit and then that will influence your actual shooting. So for me, like I know, you know, if I want a certain look, then I need to say expose a photo this way, or I need to, you know, create some kind of like compression in the image this way or something. So yeah, it's always going to influence your editing style is always going to influence the way that you shoot. So.
I love how you throw those words, compress, the exposure. These are actual technical terms of photography. These are not like English words. I mean, they're English words, but they're specialized. They're specialized for that particular niche, you know? Just like for me, sales funnels, you know, application funnel, high ticket funnel, these are specialized words. So, you know, that's the thing about like getting a high income skill. You just there's a lingo involved, practice, and, you know, just got to get obsessed and learn it all and pick one, freaking pick one and do good in it. So
yeah,
I love it. But
yeah, that's
videography is probably going to open a lot of doors for you. Hey, the videography, it's like a whole different world.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so a part of doing content creation for brands and tourism boards and stuff, I do offer video as well, but I'll hire a subcontractor to come and do the video for me. So that way I'm still making a little bit of money off their work, but realistically, I would like to be able to do that work as well. So hence the new camera and the new direction to try and like take control of that side of things a little bit more.
I love it.
There's also more money in video than photos. So, you know, it makes sense to move in that direction.
Oh, you make more money as a videographer than you would photography?
Yeah, absolutely.
So interesting. This is such good info. That's good, you know? You're just going to know these things, you know, if you're going to go into an industry.
Yeah. That's what I actually love about the bundle as well. Like so many people are handing out like these nuggets of gold that they've spent, you know, years accumulating, but nobody really knows, and you don't really know until you dive into that subject. So yeah, that's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, totally. I don't know if your audience is going to see this video or not, but I wanted to kind of give a little bit of feedback about the objections that I've been receiving and tell me if you've experienced something similar. A lot of my audience have said like how, like they just don't understand if those courses are so valuable, why is it being sold so cheap? It actually makes no sense. They're like, how is this so cheap? How are you even profitable? That doesn't make any sense, blah, blah, blah. And I think the point is that the audience needs to understand that when I'm giving away a course like the YouTube SEO, which is the one I do, your presets, we sell it for anywhere between 50 to maybe 400, let's say, right? Some people say we sell a course for 400, 500, whatever. There is no courses there really. I think there's maybe 2, 3 that I've seen which are like 2,000, but usually it's in the range of 150, 200 or whatever. And for us to give away that and sell 147, now we make a commission on each sale, you know, we make 60%. We make $88 per sale. But the point is that we're not giving away 30, we're giving 1. we're not actually giving away 100 courses, sorry. We're actually just giving away one. So for us to make a little bit of extra money on that, that's great. We also get to talk to other creators. So we build a relationship. So we're building that connection. We're also leveraging each other's audiences. We're also building our email list. So these other benefits. So for us, it's great. And all of a sudden, we have such an incredible offer to our audience, which we would never be able to do on our own. Like we would never be able to do, you would never be able to learn those 100 topics and put those 100 courses together, even if you wanted to. You would be, freaking 50 years old before you get to do that, because you'd have to go through and those careers to be able to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
So
yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like when you're saying about like you're only giving away one course, like for me, maybe I'll make maybe say 500 sales in a year or whatever. But the benefit of having these other courses and so on, like maybe I'm making 1,000 sales like just in this 10-day period. So it makes sense to like try and put everything together now and I guess try and create that hype period to try and create more sales than playing the long game over annually. Totally.
And and then the beauty of it is we're really giving it's an incredible package for the audience, even though it looks too good to be true because it's so big, it's so big. It went so out of control. I think they were trying to only do 30 courses and it just blew up and all of a sudden there's 100 creators. So it wasn't even meant to be 100. We just happened to have such a hype that we just ended up doing 100. It was meant to be 30 originally.
Yeah. So, and I think that is probably like one of the downfalls where it almost does seem like a little bit too over the top.
Yeah.
But I mean, it kind of is over the top because there's so much value. But like, well, what can you do? It's better for everyone, really.
Yeah. Totally. Anyway, there you go. So in case your audience sees it, it legitimately is valuable. Like every course is valuable. There's, I can't vouch for everybody, but I've done 6 courses so far because I've been going through people's courses. One of them was like, okay, average. Another one was okay. I'd label it, I'll give it a 4 out of 10 and then a 5 out of 10 on those 2. And then the other ones, there was 4 others, I would give them all 9 out of 10. They were great. Nice. Awesome. They were great courses. One of them was on TikTok. It wasn't even a course. It was an ebook, but the ebook was so practical. And then SEO, one was SEO, and it was really, really, really condensed and practical. And then Instagram, super, super practical as well. Really helpful.
Being an SEO master, do you still get knowledge out of these SEO courses? Like are there little nuggets in there that you pick up?
It was excellent. Absolutely. I learned new stuff from that little, and she did a really good job. You did an interview with her. What's her name? Isabel.
Yeah. I actually had an interview with her this morning.
So the course, it's 20 minutes, but she cramped like someone else who is maybe wasn't as organized or not as succinct in their communication could drag on what she taught in 20 minutes to a 5-hour course or a 10-hour course. She cramped it into 20 minutes. It was really actionable. Really, really actionable and golden tips. I took so many notes from her 20 minutes. I was like, usually with videos even, I put it on 1.5 or 2.02x speed because I'm like, freaking get to the point faster. But with her, I listened in normal speed and I took notes and it was really helpful. So and it wasn't a new subject to me, but it was great.
Even with that, there's so many other creators that are selling presets. Like one thing that I really enjoy is seeing how other photographers, create the aesthetics and stuff that they do. So as much as I would never put them on my own photos and post a photo on my feed because,
it doesn't correlate with your...
Yeah, exactly. I really, really find so much value in going through how they're actually creating that look. And that will, I've learned a bunch of stuff already just from going through other people's presets.
Interesting.
And having a look at that. So yeah, it's
interesting.
It's such a cool thing to go and check out. I love it.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that's great. So how do you learn from the other presets? Is there what's the process of, how do you learn from it exactly?
Yeah, so when you actually click on a preset, in the panel in Lightroom, you've got a bunch of different sliders, and when you click on the preset, it will automatically move all those sliders to the points where it created the look.
Presets.
So you can actually go through and have a little look and say, oh, okay, he got that kind of color combination with like these different sliders, or
wow,
this green by doing like this way, or oh, they've gone through like, different exposure methods, and there's so much stuff in there. It's insane. Like, but yeah, so every preset that that you kind of sell is automatically set to whatever that look is. So yeah.
Interesting. Because there's about 8 of them, right? I saw something like that.
I think there's like 12.
Oh, really? 12,
people
right?
giving their presets. Yeah. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We go through the same thing with, we call it funnel hacking. That's the term for us, where we go through someone's sales page and then dissect what's the headline, what is the sequence of the page, where are the testimonials, why is it set up that way, what is the upsells. That's our terminology, but you're doing the exact same thing, but with the presets. Fascinating.
Reverse engineering everything.
Reverse engineering. That's exactly right. Yeah. That is so funny. Isn't it funny? Just like a totally different niche, but exact same strategy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. I love it. Well, look, thanks a lot. I'll get the links from you for your YouTube channel, which you're going to create your first video and get it on page 1 on YouTube.
So excited for that.
Yeah. And then your Instagram, so if people want to go and check you out and prepare for your crazy freaking Tasmania to Iceland tour. So yeah, that's awesome. And I'll get the links, and then I'll link to my YouTube video. Cool. Well, thanks a lot. Is there anything else you think will be valuable to share, or we've covered quite a bit?
Yeah, we've gone pretty comprehensive there. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think, like, out of everything, the biggest thing for me is just figure out what it is that makes you happy. And if that means that you're going to create some kind of online business and whatever, then chase that. Honestly, like, life's too short. Just go have fun and chase whatever it is you want to chase.
Totally. Sure. At least you'll have fun in the process.
100%.
Yeah. It's the worst case scenario if you chase something you like. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, awesome. Well, thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciate it. And we'll speak soon, hey?
No.
Okay.
Pleasure.